I supposed to know the rules if no one tells me?
Hello and welcome back to Shallow Cinema. I'm here today with my co-host.
Oh yeah, it's me. It's Blackjack Bauer.
And I am Nemo, and today we're going to talk about a couple of films. It was going to be one film, but it didn't warrant enough for an episode, so
it's a film and a holiday special.
we pulled one quick one in that I didn't even know was releasing yet, so that was actually a nice treat.
Little season's greetings.
Season's beatings.
And I have a lot to. Well, we'll get into it. We'll get into that.
So honestly, to start us off with, Thanksgiving just ended. We're heading into the festive spirit season. So
Grumble.
yeah, we got. Do we have any gifts that are waiting for us?
No.
Have any?
I had a Chinese food Thanksgiving food poisoning weekend. That was a real gift.
Yeah, that's Jesus Christ.
No, he wasn't involved at all. Actually.
No. Myself, I did nothing for Thanksgiving either. I tried to get ready for the Warcraft Dragonflight opening, and it bombed hardcore. It was beautiful to see. I was really happy to witness that one.
Sounds like a similar feeling I had to watching a certain "Don't Worry, Darling" movie.
That's a good segue.
Yeah, but before we get to that, spoiler alert on our feelings about it. Let's do a little bit of news.
Yeah, I actually have nothing for regular news this time, but I do have some trailer news. I'll let you get back into the regular news.
Well, there's lots of big news, but I didn't really feel like talking about it because a bunch of other places have already talked about it. But of course, the other Bob Iger, is coming back into the Disney fold to apparently fix what Bob Chapek has ruined by focusing on Disney Plus.
Did they hire Bob Odenkirk?
No, the Battle of the Bobs hasn't brought him in yet.
Okay. They need him for the lawyer.
That's
segment.
the next season when it's the three Bobs, like Game of Thrones. But in actual news, that maybe some others haven't talked about. We've mentioned again the Henry Cavill leaving The Witcher.
So we got some more Henry Cavill news.
There was a little bit. I didn't dig too much into it. Apparently, his Superman deal is not confirmed.
Okay.
I don't know. And by now, it could have been confirmed. Who knows what all the details are? But people really, really are not happy with Henry Cavill leaving The Witcher. And of course, people have had issues with the writing team on The Witcher because they are changing stuff from the books, which we discovered may actually be why Henry Cavill is leaving.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, we said that in the previous episode.
Kind of helped steer season 2 in the no, Geralt wouldn't do that. And maybe he's just kind of fed up with it and where they're taking it. So a petition has started to get rid of the writers and bring back Henry Cavill, saying if one has to go, get rid of them. As the time of this recording, there's up to 260,000 signatures on this petition. I don't really know what it would take for Netflix to give a shit.
Yeah, I don't think things gonna work.
Contracts are also tricky things, so even if they wanted to, I'm sure Netflix would prefer to keep Henry Cavill. Maybe Liam Hemsworth is probably less expensive.
Yeah.
But on top of that, Netflix is doubling down. We know we're getting a spin-off from The Witcher called The Blood Elves.
The Witcher.
Or something. But now we're getting another spin-off called, right now, just codenamed Rats.
Okay.
Apparently Rats is a group of, they're not rats. They're some misfits we're going to be introduced to, I believe, in season 3, and they're going to be involved in season 4. In between season 3 and 4, we'll get their spin-off show because we'll, of course, be super invested in these characters.
Oh, absolutely.
Much like everyone got really invested in the elves in season 2, right? So we're all excited about the elves spin-off. I don't know if my sarcasm registered.
Dude, elves, yeah. Let's get some more of those elves in there.
That being said, it's got Michelle Yeoh, so I am interested in Michelle Yeoh.
I do have to say, I think it's really funny how we brought up The Witcher and Henry Cavill on almost every episode. Yet I've only watched maybe half the first season and never played one of the games.
Question becoming: Will this podcast turn into a Witcher themed podcast? Yeah, for every episode, maybe there'll even be an Easter egg. Like, did they mention the Witcher in that one?
Yeah, did Henry Cavill make an appearance?
Did Blackjack Bauer say Roach? But yeah, I think it's kind of interesting because my issue with the elf thing was one, don't pull a Walking Dead. You don't need to spin your successful show off and other stuff. And it's like, hey, instead of the money and time you're investing in that, how about you get me Witcher season 3 faster?
Hey, shit, there's some news that I missed. The Walking Dead finally ended.
Yeah, and I guess with a whimper, because I saw it was like
It was yeah, like no one was talking
the
about
only
it.
reason I even knew about it is I saw one video in my YouTube feed that was like top 10 things that happened on The Walking Dead. It was titled something like that, where it was clear of like, did The Walking Dead end? I
Yeah.
knew it was in its final season.
I guess spoilers if anyone gives a shit about The Walking Dead at
Clearly,
all.
they don't.
It ends on a cliffhanger, which sets up the Rick Grimes movie that I thought was dead, but I guess it's walking. So,
that
uh,
was good.
thank
He
you.
didn't plan that because he forgot about this news.
But yeah, I watched the ending. It was very bizarre. Obviously didn't watch the episode, but it just had Rick Grimes walking around barefoot on a muddy beach with a bunch of zombie heads biting at him, and he's going, "Oh God, I gotta get out of here!"
Coral.
And like a helicopter, like
Does he step on a piece of coral?
that would be. Oh, I would have loved that. He has a backpack and he throws it into a boat, which I guess like maybe that's some symbolism, but I don't really give a shit. And a helicopter comes down and it's like, Rick Grimes, you are coming back with us. You know you cannot die. Or it's like some weird shit like that. It was like a parody of him saying like, "We're the Walking Dead," and
I
which is
mean,
that was a big thing of the comics, as when he finally said that.
yeah, but that already happened in the show as well. He already
Yeah.
said we are the Walking Dead.
They had multiple versions of that happening throughout the outro with all the characters who live saying, "We are the Walking Dead. We are the Walking Dead."
I will admit, I did kind of, after realizing like, oh, it's in, like it ended. I did kind of want to try to go find the episode. Like, I would like to at least see how you wrapped all of this up, even though I haven't watched it in 5 years.
I literally just watched the last like 10 minutes on YouTube. They uploaded it almost immediately on their official channel the next day.
But even that fleeting feeling clearly wasn't enough because I put no effort into trying to do so. And it's like,
Yep.
that's fine.
Well, I mean, I went down like a rabbit hole of Walking Dead stuff when I realized it was still going. And they have another show that's a spin-off, but it takes place in the future.
Yeah, I'm aware of it. It's the New World or Brave New
Yeah,
World.
something like that. And I remember its cliffhanger ending, like tied back into the pilot episode of The Walking Dead.
Right.
And it had like one of the walkers. Oh my God, it's running now. So okay,
Oh, you know what? Nice. They evolved them. They finally caught up to 28 days later.
yeah, like
Yeah,
I
if they had done that,
so much.
if they had made it a 28 days later reference and said something like 28, that would have been cooler to me.
Yeah,
On that news, apparently Danny Boyle is interested in doing a 28 days later sequel.
28 years later.
That's what it would. No, it'd be 28 months later
Okay,
because we had 28 weeks.
okay, yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. I'm
No.
down with that.
I'd be down for that, especially if I think Alex Garland, who wrote it,
Yeah.
he wants him to come back, and I think Alex Garland said, "I have an idea for it."
I would, yeah. Honestly, that's one zombie thing that I'd actually be interested in.
You know,
Interested in.
Strangely, actually, I think I'm not going to even bother to look it up. I think 28 Days Later was ever so slightly after the Dawn of the Dead remake, but
I wanna
everyone
say that you're right.
credits kind of Walking Dead as bringing zombies back to popular culture.
I
and
disagree.
leading us to be inundated with zombies.
I think it
everywhere.
made zombies mainstream.
But Dawn of the Dead and specifically 28 Days Later is like, hey, you remember zombies? Well, hey, look, let's do zombies again, y'all.
Do you remember how we talked about that Black Adam was announced before
12
Iron
years
Man came
ago?
out?
Yes.
It just like hit me the other day that I think I watched Iron Man 2 when the pilot episode of The Walking Dead came out. So
That would have been around that time. Or, yeah, that would have been around that time.
it's just really funny to think that The Walking Dead's been going on just as long as the MCU.
I'm glad that they did finally end it. To be honest, I didn't think that AMC would actually do it.
I still don't think they have completely ended it because they did set up for a movie, because even like Michonne at the end was like, "I know Rick's out there alive. I gotta find him."
At the very least, though, the original plan was a trilogy of Rick Grimes movies.
Oh my God.
I do feel like they have now dropped it down to, no, I guess we'll just do one.
Just do the one. You know what? I'll watch that. I would give that a chance.
Sure. I mean, I didn't hate Walking Dead. I liked it for a long time until it was like, oh, I see what's happening. You're just going to stretch out stupid shit. And all you have to really watch is watch the premiere of your season, the mid-season finale, mid-season premiere, mid-season finale.
Like, I really liked Norman Reedus and his funky fetus when he was like really the main star there for a while, but then he kind of fell off for me anyway as a character. And I enjoy watching Andrew Lincoln because he's just really intense for no reason. And
It
honestly,
had-
when they brought in Negan,
I was excited
like
for Negan. I like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, so
Yeah.
when they cast him, I was like, yeah.
like the
And
uncensored version of that episode is pretty good.
his introduction is great, but even that, there was such a long lead up for me. Not having read the comics, but knowing the comic was like,
Yeah.
will you just fucking get to Negan? Like, quit this. Like, we're all Negans. Like, no, we all know who it is. Like,
Yeah,
just do
show
it.
us, give us the stupid baseball bat. Like that's what you wanted, and it was good. And then it's just like it just got boring, and
And
then I'm like, I'm done.
I remember the episode I dropped out. It was the beginning. I believe in the comic, the arc is called All Out War. It is where Rick and Negan straight up go to war with each other. And that's where I also realized, hey, you know what? You can't just shoot guns at a camera and make an action scene engaging. Turns
Yeah.
out you have to, I don't know, choreograph action and stuff.
I remember that episode too. Is really just like shooting at nothing or just holding a gun, maybe slightly out of frame so they don't have to animate it.
And also, strangely, like, hey, I know that you figured out kind of how to make bullets, but it seems like this is still a limited resource that,
Yeah.
I don't know, let's not just spray them at the windows of this
No,
fortress.
they had to hold the budget for their tiger.
I think that season the Tiger gets it, actually. I think it does. They didn't
It
need
finally
that. They
does.
had all their nice, clean Hyundai cars that were provided to them and all the gas. But enough Walking Dead talk.
Yeah, this is the Talking Dead now. Let's get
And what's Chris Hardwick going to do now? Was Talking Dead even still on at this point?
I think it came back for this.
I mean, I guess
Yeah.
it should.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe
But
it'll start.
you remember that was a thing too? Like that even had high ratings where it's like, holy shit, people just... That's when AMC decided to like make another Walking Dead show
This is a
that-
franchise
that
now.
actually does nothing different than this show. But that even had an interesting premise too. Like, hey, do you want to see the beginning of the outbreak? Like, yeah, I do. And then I don't know, 8 episodes in, they're just like, now we're caught up to the original series now.
And it also like gives you like the most unlikable cast of
Yeah,
characters
yeah.
ever.
And was very, very dumb. I couldn't get past.
No, I think I fell off. You know what? I can't even tell you. I don't even know.
But here's another interesting bit of news that you might be interested in there, Nemo. Legendary Pictures, which if you don't know, had been longtime partnered with Warner Brothers and
Yes.
is who, for America, owns the rights for Godzilla, or at least makes the Godzilla movies.
They do.
They also do like Pacific Rim and Dune. They've left Warner Brothers
Okay.
and they are now signing a deal with Sony.
This is news to me.
This is something that had been a little bit brewing since the pandemic when Warner Brothers decided we're going to put all our movies, including your Godzilla vs. Kong movie,
Yes, yes.
just straight to HBO Max, which everyone got angry about. But I think also the Zaslav Warpath has made it easier for them to be like, we're just going to leave.
Warner Brothers really did just straight up put a gun in their mouth, didn't they?
Look, I will defend Warner Brothers on the putting that stuff out on streaming. One, because honestly, like I got to watch a lot of stuff.
I mean, just with all the decisions they're making now.
And I didn't have to pay for it. And to their credit, like they didn't know if movie theaters were going to open back up. And if they did, were people going to come?
That's fair.
They did just start a streaming network. Like, you know what? And hey, Godzilla vs. Kong and Mortal Kombat and a few others, like, still made money at the box office despite being free and available on HBO Max. So I think, honestly, like, you should probably give Warner Brothers a hand too. If, like, you probably did help bring theaters back as well, that you gave people some entertainment at home. But they're not
Like-
alone in this departure.
Oh, so someone
Christopher Nolan, who all of his
Uh-oh.
movies have been Warner Brothers, his new movie
Oppenheimer.
will be through Universal.
That's interesting. Universal needs a hit.
No, they got Fast X coming, quickly becoming the most expensive movie ever made. It's going to try to rival Avatar. It's
Here we
already
go.
up to $350 million.
I know they did hire Jason Momoa for this one.
Yeah, they got Momoa and Brie Larson,
Oh, okay.
and also James Wan, who did
Yes. Saw.
who did the best movie ever in the world, *Malignant*. He is now in talks to merge his production company with Blumhouse, which would
That-
also mean
yeah, that makes
moving his
sense.
Warner Brothers deal to Universal because that's who has.
That honestly, that makes sense.
So Universal is capitalizing big time on Warner Brothers' decision to fuck everything up.
James Wan is a goofy man. I would like to see him get his hands on the Universal monsters. Might actually be really fun.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That would be great, and maybe that's even what Universal's like.
Yeah.
Would you
Well,
like
I
to do
mean,
this?
was the monsters Universal? I don't
It
remember.
wasn't, but it was never intended to be a thing. They have a sub studio called Universal 1440, which is where it's like, hey, this is garbage. We're gonna put it out.
No, I mean I couldn't remember if they owned the Munsters or the Addams Family. Not
No.
not the new movie.
They own the monsters. Yes.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
But yeah, that's really good. And Universal's already tried a couple times to get that Dark Universe started.
They have
Maybe
done their
now-
best.
Look, James, actually, other than Marvel, there's only been 2 universes that have even sniffed the MCU aspect. One being the Monsterverse,
With the Godzilla one.
and the other one being the Conjuring universe.
Dude,
Like, love it or hate it,
the
not just the 3 Conjuring movies, the Nun,
Annabelle.
Annabelle, even La Llorona
Oh yeah.
is in the Conjuring
yeah,
universe.
Yeah, Llorona.
They didn't mention it because they're like, "Oh, this is a bad movie, so don't say it." But like, the priest guy isn't like. There's some stuff where it's like, this is the Conjuring universe.
It sure is. That's really interesting, honestly. I'm down with that. I know for some reason I still cringe every time I think about it, but my parents are like, "Man, you got to see this movie called Dracula Untold. It's one of the best Dracula movies ever made." I was like, "This fucking sucks."
But can you name a better Dracula movie?
Van Helsing.
I will fight you. Like, I haven't even seen Dracula Untold, but interesting that you bring that up. Though, is I was never a fan of the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies. Even at
I grew up with them, so I'm biased for sure.
in a way, I almost did. I was in high school when the first one came out, and I was excited to go see it. And I wasn't like I hated it, but I just walked out going like, it was nothing.
That's how I discovered one of my old favorite bands, Godsmack. They did a song for the Scorpion King.
Oh, I remember. They did lots of songs for lots of movies. And then I watched the second Mummy movie when I worked at a video store and was like, yeah, this is bad. I don't like this. And obviously, we all have seen the Scorpion King CGI.
Dude,
which is maybe the most famous, like, what were you
yeah.
thinking? Why wouldn't you? And as other people point out, I was like, why don't you just film The Rock and then CGI the other part beneath
It's
him?
so funny. I actually, as a kid, I really loved the Mummy, and I had a bunch of Lego system sets. They used to have an Egyptian tomb themed deal going on.
I'll give credit to Stephen Sommers. I understand what he actually was trying to like. I don't like any of Stephen Sommers' work actually. He also, he did the first G.I. Joe movie.
That's fair.
He does have a campy aesthetic, and like technically, it should work for the Mummy. I just don't like adventure-ish movies like that. Like, I'm not a big Indiana Jones fan. First Captain America movie is probably my least favorite MCU movie, just because I don't care for this aspect of adventure.
Honestly, that's understandable.
And even though I will not say that this is a good movie or argue with anybody, but Dracula Untold was them trying to start the Universal Monsters.
They did their best.
Even though they didn't put a branding on it. And then we got Tom Cruise's The Mummy, which was, I think they were going to actually tie it to Dracula Untold.
They were.
There's
going
other
to.
stuff in there where they're obviously setting other stuff up, but they're like, we already did Dracula. Like, go ahead and say this. I actually like the Tom Cruise Mummy movie. Like, it's not great, but my expectations were so low that walking out of the theater was like, that was a fun time.
I really do not remember the Tom Cruise movie at all. I do say that the Mummy design was fucking sick.
Making the female mummy, and I love the actress Sophia Boutella.
Did great on that one.
Cool. That wouldn't fly now. People would be like, "Oh, woke mummy."
Yeah, Mummy goes woke.
They're probably even going back like, "That's why it failed. It failed because you made the mummy a woman."
I mean, come on, it's in the name of the movie. It's a mummy. Or they got it confused. It's a mommy.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing for that movie though is the trailer.
The one, the accidental, like, oops.
I did watch that trailer as it came out because it just popped up on my feed, and I was like, this is fucking hilarious. And it's still one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
It's also a very interesting look into how movies and trailers are made of like, there's nothing wrong with that audio design. It's just missing the other layers to cover up how silly this voice sounds.
It's really
the voice
funny.
is going to be the same.
You don't realize how weird things sound without their effects.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a really good version of that. It's just funny to me that it had the opposite effect of Ugly Sonic.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Only other piece of news I have, and then we'll go into your trailer, is the sequel to Knives Out, Glass Onion.
Oh, yes, I did hear about that.
They gave it a limited theatrical run.
Oh, so it's already come out?
It's come and gone. Netflix gave it 1 week. 1 week in theaters.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I didn't even know they were going to do, because I knew that they'd bought Knives Out.
Yeah, I remember that too.
I was like, oh, yeah, that's fine. But that makes it the biggest Netflix original movie, as it opened in 700 theaters. And in the time that it was out, it made $15 million.
That's
To where a lot of
not
analysts are saying
bad.
it's not bad at all. Though actually, they're saying like they left money on the table. Like if you left this out, you probably could
I
have.
mean, I won't lie. You mentioning it right now, I probably would have went and seen it.
Honestly, I would have if not knowing for the fact of well, on December 23rd it was be on Netflix, which is how you trailered it. You trailered that, so I didn't know
I
the
didn't even,
theatrical
yeah, I
thing.
didn't know it was even possible for a Netflix movie to go to a theater.
And it's kind of like, why did you even bother to do it? I mean,
Was
I
it a
guess
test? Like,
I don't know. And there may be some. Obviously, there's some other Netflix. Well, speaking of Alex Garland, the movie Annihilation,
yes.
which only theatrically came out here in the U.S. Everywhere else, Netflix they bought it before it came out, and then it had a very small run in the U.S. anyway before it's just on Netflix anyway.
That was a weird time because I actually really wanted to see that movie, and I feel like something happened and just completely distracted me from the fact that it even existed.
Probably something else bigger came out, and I don't know the Netflix of it all. But it's an interesting factor of just how movies are changing, but also like this should have been Netflix once they saw like the first 3 day numbers. But like, oh, fuck it, leave it there.
Yeah.
Like just make the money. And again, Warner Brothers already showed you like you can actually run them in both places, and like some people want to go to the theater and see a movie in the theater.
There's not a lot of other movies taking up the slots right now anyway, so
No, actually, I didn't pull up the numbers because I didn't really care to talk about it. But this
right.
Thanksgiving weekend was the
Oh,
lowest Thanksgiving box office
yeah,
in
ever.
history.
And that was, you know what, that's a big piece of news. Strange Worlds, the new Disney animated movie, just completely bombed. Like,
Well, so we'll wrap up the news with this to tie back. Look, full circle. The Battle of the Bobs. Bob Chapek is really focused on Disney Plus, right? So I didn't even really know about Strange World.
yes, one of my friends posted a trailer for it in our Discord server and was like, "Hey, this looks really cool." They made the trailer like an old timey kind of thing, and I watched it and I was like, I hated that because I know that's not what the movie's gonna be.
Which is and actually do in future like we're going to do an episode about trailers because there's a very interesting culture around that.
For
But
sure.
also with all this Disney Plus stuff, one, I don't feel like they really promoted Strange World.
We saw one
And I
poster
think,
for it at the theater, but we never actually got a trailer for it, despite seeing like 3 or 4 Disney movies.
and apparently Bob Chapek doesn't like animation,
That's so funny to me.
or he doesn't believe it's
Like
profitable,
viable.
or what's weird is like you're in charge of Disney.
One Piece has made one of the most money ever for that type of animated movie.
And actually, before Hollywood started coming back, the Demon Slayer movie was the
Oh
first
yeah,
thing that really was like,
was it Mugen Train or something like that?
yeah, something like that.
And
And I think it was the biggest anime release in the U.S.
it was before Film Red came out.
The other thing with Strange World is even someone who maybe did see something of it, like saw a bus ad or saw the poster,
Right.
even the look of it now, just from that image, you would think like, oh, that must be a Disney Plus thing. I'll see it on Disney Plus because
Yeah.
of the way that they have.
It even kind of looks
worked
like a
everything.
show more than a movie. Like the poster does, rather.
True. I mean, as we'll get into with in the next episode,
Right.
but like, what does the look of? There's a different look to these things now too, and people are getting so conditioned to streaming,
And
even if-
especially their target audience, which is children.
right. And think about children who are maybe 3 years old in 2020.
They've grown up
They've
knowing
grown
only
up-
streaming.
Right. Theaters weren't a thing for them.
Chances are their parents are like, I want to take you to a theater
That's
anyway.
and the other part of it too is even if you did know about it and you knew it was a theatrical release, you also kind of now knows like, well, if I wait 45 days, it'll be on Disney Plus.
Exactly.
So instead of paying 50 or 60 bucks to take the family to it, I'll just wait 2 months and then we'll watch it at home.
Do kids look forward to movies anymore?
I'm sure some do. Like, I think maybe some like big ones, like Marvel movies that they know are coming.
Like,
I was going to say maybe Star Wars, but they haven't made a Star Wars in a couple of years.
I think about like, when I was a kid, I was like, going to the movie theater was like a
A big
almost
deal.
like a nervous event. Like I was like ready to go. I was just like, oh, is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be good? Now I'm like, I'm gonna watch Lightyear at home in my underwear.
I still have an excitement for certain things at the
I do too.
theater, and there's certain things too where I do feel like this deserves to be seen in the theater. Like I did, speaking back to Warner Brothers, like Dune, I did go see that in the theater, even though I could have just watched it at home.
Right.
But I was like,
Same thing for
Visually, this-
Godzilla and Kong for myself.
and I have seen some people saying like, because I guess that has a the boy is he's got a little boyfriend, or they have feelings for each other.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Kong had a
No,
boyfriend.
he,
No, oh
he
yeah,
could, he
yeah,
could.
he might. But no,
And they're probably saying
yeah,
like, this
in
is why
Strange
it's
World,
failing or whatever.
right?
No, it's not. Although I'm interested to see now because of that, to see because everything else Disney has done with anything of that nature has been so easy for them to like, we'll cut this out for China.
They someone had a meme of the teacher from Jimmy Neutron, where it's like this is Disney's first gay character, and it's like Sheen, that's the 5th time you've showed
They've
the
had
gay
first gay
character
characters.
in
They've had a lot of
class.
first gay characters.
So yeah, like okay, that one I just like, whatever. I don't really care. It's just like they wanted to make the trailer look like a 1920s old timey movie,
Hmm.
and for me, the idea of that would be better if you went all in. Make it a black and white animated movie. Make it look weird, but instead it's just 3D bubbly characters,
This was
funny animal, blah blah blah.
this was a conversation I had with a friend of mine too. Is all the studios now are so risk averse that
Right.
that we don't get very much stuff that's interesting. Even things like again, like I'm like, I'd like a cowboy movie. I'd like a pirate movie. Other bit of news: the Margot Robbie Pirates movie is dead. Which I'm not saying that would have been good, but honestly, it's like I'm for that. Make another Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and you don't need to focus on Jack. Like, do something that's not Jack Sparrow. Let's do
Right.
something else because we don't. Also, when's the last time you've seen a ninja movie? And like Shang-Chi doesn't even count for that because eventually it just turns into Marvel stuff.
Right. And
And even the Jurassic World movies kind of are just like they're not even dinosaur movies now. They're just like, you want to see Chris Pratt do some stuff in front of
Right.
lava?
the big dinosaur thing that even happened was the Prehistoric Planet, and that was an Apple TV exclusive documentary series.
And I think
Really
something
good,
like
but
Werewolf by Night, which was what you just described. Like they
exactly.
went whole into it. It's like, I'm going to do this whole thing this way. If that had been a movie, no way Marvel would let them do it.
Nope,
Like you're not doing this
not
in
at
black
all.
and white because people aren't going to watch a black and white movie.
Even though it's just like I would rather do that. Just make something stylized for God's sake.
Because I would say Disney is the worst risk averse because they make so much money. That's part of
They're
the
too afraid now.
MCU formula too. Is like this is why they're all the same too. Is because like they're not going to take a risk.
Exactly.
And even the ones that mildly take risks, like Eternals, maybe would have been better if the studio entirely backed away from that direction. It's like, do what you want to do.
Really good point. But something that is nicely stylized is a new Super Mario Brothers trailer.
I know I sent it to you and I didn't watch it. But I will say the teaser that I saw, the original trailer #1, I'm on board with you too. Of like, it looks good.
Honestly, the trailer was very charming. I know Chris Pratt had said that he had a whole deal with, like, he had a secret Mario voice that he'd been working on, and I'm with the consensus of the internet that I just don't hear like him doing a voice. It's a little bit higher pitched. It's fine. Like, I'm not really like bothered by it, but damn, Jack Black is fucking killing it as Bowser.
The Jack Black, because he does speak in the teaser, so I can speak to that.
He's like, like
He doesn't sound like Jack Black,
but he has that twang to his voice.
it's still like you're getting, like I know it's the performer, I can hear the performer in there, but he's acting. He's doing a voice.
He's acting.
And
they revealed Luigi's voice in this one.
who's doing Luigi?
Charlie Day.
Okay.
Sounds fantastic. He's great as Luigi. Love it
So
already.
this is a little Lego movie reunion here.
A little bit. And then
And honestly, he's probably my favorite part in the Lego movies.
Anna Taylor-Johnson, or
Joy.
it's Anya Taylor-Joy. Sorry, I mixed up Kick-Ass. She's Princess Peach,
Right.
taking on a good, like a more foreground role where she's like training Mario how to be like a hero. Her voice is pretty good, but all I can think is just like, wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Also, and I do like Anna. She's an amazing actress. A movie that I really want to see is The Menu.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of like Florence Pugh, to tie into the
Ooh.
later part of the episode, there are more actresses in the world than Anna Taylor-Joy and
Yeah.
Florence Pugh, you all.
Yeah. I will say like that's odd choice for a voice actor because she's not really a voice actress. I don't really know if she's done other animated stuff. At least Chris Pratt's done Emmett.
I
And-
don't believe she's done any other voice work.
So that's
No.
odd. Keegan-Michael Key as Toad is pretty good. Like, really nice.
Is Jordan Peele in it, you think?
I want to say that he might be.
Even though they don't have to be tied together, but I remember that from Toy Story 4 is like,
Right.
well, we got Key and Peele.
I know that Charles Martinet is in the movie as multiple voices, but we don't know yet. I'm thinking he's going to be Wario and Waluigi.
He would have to be and should be.
But
he can't be Mario because you don't want to hear that voice.
I certainly don't. I don't want to hear Wahoo! It's so long, get Bowser. But Mario Kart is in the movie.
Okay.
So they're on Rainbow Road at the end. Honestly, looks really fucking good.
Do you think there's a Dr. Mario reference in there?
Definitely, because it reveals that it's which is really good.
I hope he doesn't pull a Cosby.
They do a Princess Peach is like, we got to protect the galaxy. There's multiple galaxies out there. Bowser's coming for all of them. And it has like a Yoshi's Island. And it's like, maybe might see some Rosalina at some point. It's just really nice.
I guess with that, I have a little concern of like, are you trying to shove every Mario game into this one movie? Or are you just pre-setting up of like, we're going to make a whole universe of Mario movies?
They probably could.
They could.
But the trailer shows off Donkey Kong, which is played by Weed Man, Seth Rogen.
Okay. I wouldn't have gotten it from Weed Man. Okay.
But
that works. That works.
Yeah, he didn't speak. He just made some grunts, which would be really funny if he just does the I'm Groot thing. I will say it's going to be bullshit if they do not put a Donkey Kong reference in, specifically for Seth Rogen, because the fucking arcade machine starts off with, how high can you get?
Do we know? I guess it doesn't really matter who's directing this or who wrote it, because Nintendo would have been super involved.
I mean, I think Shigeru Miyamoto pretty much wrote and directed everything from Japan. I mean, they've been releasing the trailers as Nintendo Directs.
Oh, that's neat.
With commentary from the animation company as well as Nintendo. So, with seeing the trailer, it's actual levels of Mario. There's literally like blocks in the sky. There's jokes about the game itself.
And I think
this is really unique.
I think this will do what the video game character did as well as like, this is going to be better than Sonic. Sonic is
I like the Sonic movies.
It's good at a level of like, this didn't suck like every other video game movie.
Exactly.
And there are some fun bits that they have done.
Detective Pikachu was like that too, but it's really hard to do that with Pokemon since Pokemon has a lot of other successful movies because it's an anime.
But I also think it's very clever to like not try to just do a Pokemon movie. Like, let's do Detective Pikachu. Right. We can do this very different kind of a story.
Well, also it follows the story of the Detective Pikachu game.
But my biggest issue with the Detective Pikachu movie was like, his dad's gonna be Ryan Reynolds because you're not showing me his dad's face.
Yep.
This is not the surprise that you think it is.
Yeah.
And also, I've never played any Pokemon, but it's like, it's kind of weird that his dad's just inside Pikachu.
That's what happened in that game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then to their credit, it was like, way to stick to the source material.
Yeah, it's just like the thing is, the game, I think it wasn't a flop.
Mewtwo's not in the game, is he?
He is, because the game is like an alternate storyline kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Pokemon games have different storylines all the way throughout. There's no real concise one except for the main series games.
But I'm seeing now we are finally getting like video game movies are, and strangely, I mean, you do have to give it to Sonic because it really was the one's like, oh shit. I guess if we kind of try,
Detective Pikachu was first.
That's true. It was first, and that's probably what led to them like,
let's
make a Sonic movie.
Yep.
But I also hope they don't take the lesson of like they don't all have to be the kid friendly games because and it's not going to suck. I don't think it's going to suck. The Mario movie is going to blow stuff out to where now everyone will be like, all right, let's make video game movies.
I mean, The Last of Us might be the one for the adult one.
That's a TV show, but I agree. I mean,
because a lot of the more adult centered games kind of
you can even say
center around
Arcane on Netflix as well.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't give a shit about League of Legends, but at least the show is good.
I don't give a shit. I don't know anything about League of Legends, but the show is good.
I mean, I don't even know. Another trailer.
We are getting Borderlands.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Jack Black as well. This is gonna be Claptrap.
And Jack Black getting work.
And I hope that movie is going to be rated R. It doesn't need to be.
It'd be fun though.
But it's also Eli Roth, so I assume it would be rated R.
I would like it for it to be so.
But I hope that it also is good too, so that they also say like, okay, we can do all of this.
Right.
And I do think we will see as this Marvel saga ends and they do whatever they're going to do. They're not going to go away. They're not going to fade away.
Let's see the Smash Brothers universe rise.
Dude, I actually would legit. enjoy a Smash Brothers movie. It won't happen because there's no way all those companies will agree.
No way.
Like the fact that they're in the game is an amazing thing. But
Right.
Nintendo could still do it with all of their IP. I'd
Absolutely.
be less interested because I was like, I would like to see Solid Snake punch Cloud
Yeah.
while Mario star bombs them.
Sephiroth.
Get another trailer?
Yes. So one released today was Cocaine Bear. Just a goofy story, goofy movie.
I don't even want to see the trailer. I just
Yeah, don't.
the title,
Just watch it.
the title, and then the poster's like, you got me.
Um,
I secretly hope that. Well, I guess now the trailer's out, so we wouldn't know.
right.
The way that the poster was, I was like, is this a secret Sin City 3 movie?
Right.
Because that would be dope. And I would
No
pay
pun
to see
intended.
Mickey Rourke fight a cocaine fueled bear.
That'd be honestly that'd
Yeah,
be
right.
good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm in with that one. Another trailer that came out was.
I will say, I think Cocaine Bear is the last movie that Ray Liotta filmed.
Yes, I think so. That's weird.
Which is probably why it's getting any amount of attention that it is getting.
Probably.
Well, it's his last movie.
The horror Grinch movie trailer. I didn't watch that trailer though.
Me neither. I was going to save this for the end of the show. We're like, what are we going to watch? Like, there's also David Harbour's got a movie coming out called
the Christmas
Violent Night.
Yeah.
Which I am down for.
Yep.
As soon as I saw that there's this Grinch horror movie, I was also like, it's probably going to be dumb and shitty, but I'm also in.
Yep.
Like I'm in for the Winnie the Pooh horror movie.
Like the last, well, that's what I was going to say. The last horror movie thing like that was the Winnie the Pooh one, which apparently is actually
good.
Like going to be good. I don't know. I haven't heard much about it, but I know that it's getting some pretty positive stuff.
I guess whoever made it, they knew that those rights were coming up.
So they must have been
they
making
probably
it
started
in
doing
secret
it before.
That's pretty good. Also, a hell of a risk on their part.
Because Disney could have at any point.
Absolutely. The final trailer that I don't know if you've seen was that 90s show for Netflix.
You sent it to me.
Did I? I didn't remember.
I didn't watch it because I don't want to.
That's fair.
And the weird thing is, I should be the target audience for that.
You should be.
Twofold, because one, my best years of life were the 90s. So it would all be nostalgic. Like, I remember that. Everything was totally rad and extreme.
Well, that 70s show was my generation's Friends.
The fact that they're doing, and they already tried this. They tried to do that 80s show before that 70s show.
I looked into that. That has nothing to do with that 70s show. It was a ripoff.
It's the same creative team.
But it was like they weren't supposed to do it. Like
it wasn't tied to that 70s show.
So funny.
It was just the concept. Like, well,
right.
Let's do. So yeah, well, this one is tied to it. My bigger concern is the same with that 70s show. When Topher Grace left, they should have just ended the show.
They should have.
Because that was our character. Then you had to do all these contrivances of why all these kids are still in Red's fucking house.
He's got to go play Venom while the rest of these people are here. Like,
and also, and I don't totally remember, but like the episodes of him leaving and like being like leading to his departure, the character was like, this works really well as a film. Like,
it should have been.
Just stop.
And to go into that, the trailer has none of the original cast except for Red and Kitty. It's all their grandchildren, and it looks and feels like a Disney show, like a Disney Channel show. Kurtwood Smith and Deborah Jo Rupp are gonna carry this on their backs.
I mean, they carried the end of the series, and they carried.
And honestly, like seeing them in the trailer, it really did feel like you just plucked them out of the original series. They don't look like they've aged. It's actually kind of incredible.
No, I mean, seeing her in WandaVision was like, all right, girl, also, you've held up.
And honestly,
Kurtwood Smith has kind of always just looked like
he's always been an old man. But yeah, they were like
55 years old for all the years he's been alive.
It had a good bit at the end where he's like, "Get the fuck out of my house," and like, I'm gonna put my foot in your ass, kind of shit. And
I wonder,
that was nice, but all these other characters, I hate them already.
I wonder if this is a little bit either some of the team or something behind. There's a Netflix show called The Ranch that had Ashton Kutcher and Danny Masterson in it.
It had multiple people. It wasn't just them. They had more returning 70s show characters.
I only got through season 1 because it wasn't funny. Even though like they were saying fuck, it was, just an open wide show, but it was shot like a normal sitcom.
And I believe
you describing it right now to me as it looked like Disney Channel makes me think like, is this just the Ranch?
The Ranch looks better, in my opinion. I will say the house looks almost identical to what they did. But it was like, I don't know if it's the FPS or what, because the original show, at least the beginning, was on film.
Well,
So,
nothing's on filming. You can go back and look at
it's weird.
phase 1 of the Marvel movies
Right.
and be like, there's a little distinct difference in how you look because you were shot on film.
But like everything about the trailer itself, it felt like a cracked.com YouTube video. Like,
Well, kudos to Cracked.
yeah, like it felt like they could have made this like the Weird Al Yankovic trailer they came out with years ago. And
Which led to a movie eventually.
it did.
Maybe someone at Cracked did do a 90s sketch.
I wouldn't be surprised. Kurtwood Smith seems pretty cool. He'd probably be down for something like that.
Yeah, I mean, also it's paid. Like I don't, you know what? Even if it sucks, I don't begrudge Kurtwood Smith or Deborah.
Oh
Chow
no,
Like,
absolutely not.
get paid.
But yeah, they were giving their all in the trailer. It was really entertaining for that.
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised Topher Grace isn't.
I feel like they're going
assume
to.
He will show up.
Danny Masterson's not.
No, he will not. And maybe this also stems from they did the Fuller House.
Right.
That was a
Honestly,
big-
it's also Netflix. So
And that was Netflix, right? And that was a big success for them. I don't know why, but it was. So it turned out that we had more news than we thought, y'all.
So let's go into Don't Worry, Darling.
But you want to start with the battle?
Yeah, might as well just as a band-aid, you got to rip it off.
So a movie that for me personifies a trailer trope of just watch the trailer. The trailer is a really good movie.
Trailer is a movie.
I'll give it this. The trailer does not misrepresent the movie.
It doesn't.
And it doesn't tell you what's up. But here's the big problem the trailer does is we now know something is up. And the movie sticks with its 1950s premise for about a solid hour before. I mean, shit is going weird the whole time. But
I'll read the little synopsis here. Don't Worry, Darling is a movie set in 1950s Nuketown, where a loving couple, Alice, who is played by Florence Pugh, and Jack, Harry Styles. As a loving housewife, it is Alice's duty to care for her husband as he works on a military base on a secret project. Their little town is full of housewives who are running around gossiping, but the town crazy lady is super strange and the men and the women don't like her. However, Alice wants to know more and she gets into a bit of trouble. The genre of this film is listed as horror. However, the only scary thing in this film is Harry Styles' accent. I'm Gene Charlotte.
So
Gene Charlotte is still alive, by the way.
Seriously?
He's 98.
Wow, who'd have thought he'd outlive Siskel and Ebert?
You get the last laugh.
Heyo. So many things that we could talk about and say about this movie. I want to say the nice things first.
Okay, go ahead.
The concept is good.
Oh, you know what? Let's go ahead. Spoiler alert for this movie, because fuck it.
Because our rating is going to be don't watch it. Burn this movie.
Yes.
Or because it is streaming for free, turn it on in the background while you're doing literally anything else.
Maybe when you're going to bed, perhaps.
If you can't sleep, turn this on. Because it did take me 3 separate viewings to actually get through all of it because I kept falling asleep.
I watched half, paused it, got up and left.
I probably wouldn't have finished.
Honestly, same.
Because the mystery wasn't even... And again, I'm not going to harp on the trailer part telling me something is up. But the movie's not hiding it either. Like the way things are being shot is like clearly something is up. And this is kind of weird.
Absolutely.
It is a very... the 1950s not even misogyny, but it is misogyny.
It is.
And partially I also had this thought of like, okay, I get why you'd be doing this because it's a simulation. Spoiler. But I was like, you went all in on this. Like, there's no black people here. And as soon as I had that thought, black woman showed up. But as Nemo pointed out, she is the town crazy lady.
Yeah.
Who for some reason also knows that something is wrong.
But
it's never, and here's the thing.
It never gets explained.
The movie never explains anything other than the literal conceit of what the fact that it's
literally
simulation.
What is happening. Like
everything else from the
but not why,
constant
not
earthquakes.
How.
Like what are the earthquakes? Why are the earthquakes?
Is the earthquakes like their husband getting out of the bed? Like
no, it can't be. I thought about this because the earthquakes aren't at the same time every day. And one of them is when the husbands are gone at work because it's while they're gossiping shopping. And Olivia Wilde said, her character says, well, at least we know that they're busy working.
Right. Also, you know what? Why the fuck isn't she leaving?
Yes. So at the end, the movie gets very interesting in the last 15 minutes when stuff is actually explained to us.
That's one of my notes that said the movie is really boring and explains everything in less than 15 minutes.
Where Olivia Wilde, as one of the wives, and basically the rule is like, this is all men. I think they're all their husbands, but
They're all husbands, yes.
but the way when Harry Styles goes into it and we see his like not he's not being indoctrinated, but he's getting into this program or
Right.
whatever. They say like partner's name or whatever, previous relationship, yes, which makes me think, are you sometimes just abducting women that you want?
That's what that read to me as.
So I don't know that they're all their wives. In the simulation, they're all their wives.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
But I
Okay.
wonder if one of them is like, no, it's not my wife. This is just someone I wanted to date, and I fucking locked her up and
Well,
put her in here.
and that's what I wanted to say here is that the whole movie is literally a Black Mirror episode. It could be a Black Mirror episode,
And or
but
the
it literally
Stepford
is.
Wives.
It's the Jesse Plemons episode, the USS Callister. It's the same concept where he's just scanning his coworkers into his Star Trek fantasy.
And
Like,
and
it's-
actually, as the movie
pretty much the same thing. Like,
explains what's happening, it falls apart because it opens up more questions and
Uh,
all the weird stuff you see in the trailer. Like
I just
Florence-
feel bad for Chris Pine in this one.
I'll get to that too, but her getting smushed in glass, her putting plastic wrap around her face.
That was the glass shot was fucking cool.
There's again.
Why did it happen?
This is why I say put it on in the background because like it's pretty and,
Yeah,
and there are some cool
The
shots.
filmographer is really skilled.
And I kind of even want to give credit to Olivia Wilde as a storyteller. Like maybe you did the best with the script that you had.
That was the thing too that I saw a report on is like there's so many things that were in the script that she cut that would have made the movie better.
Because this does also have a lot of behind the scenes drama. And
Dude,
with that, I'll kind of still say, like, for all the drama that there was, like, it's impressive that it came out looking like it did.
Right. I didn't even know there was drama around this movie. I pretty much just saw the trailer and I was like, looks interesting. I think maybe it's like a
I
whole.
think we
like,
actually saw the
deep-
trailer together when we saw Doctor Strange.
Yes, we
and
did.
I did go, like, I wanted to see it. To me, it's like,
Right.
what a good trailer. I'm intrigued. What is this?
And also the way the trailer portrays it, it kind of shows that like Harry Styles will be the main character. It just kind of seemed like he was just in the movie, and it's like unfortunately he is in the movie.
And I don't know much about Harry Styles, so it took me a minute too. It's like, is he speaking with a British accent? 'Cause
Okay,
sometimes
so that's
I didn't feel like
think-
it was there. Now it turns out to also be part of the simulation.
well, I think
it
that
shows
was
that.
that was not in the script. I did see that. I guess he could not hold on to that American accent, so they had to write in a reason why his accent's
British
fucking up.
accent would come in.
He really should just stick to music. He's not an actor. He even does like the
Well, he wasn't. What,
frustrated thing where he like grabs the steering wheel and yells in his car. Like great acting, dude. Awesome. Love to see that.
maybe it's also next to Florence Pugh, who I will say
Fantastic
crushes it
actress.
in this movie.
She knew what she was doing,
And
and so did Chris Pine.
what held my attention most was like her. The only thing that kept me was like, and I cared for her as a character. In the Chris Pine of it all, I don't know, man. His acting's not bad. I remember I was sitting there going like, is this good acting? Because all of his dialogue, he's only in the movie for 10 minutes.
It's not much.
And all of the dialogue of him on screen is all done where it's clear, like, well, you're obviously the villain. like,
But that's the thing is there is
and his villainous take is to, I'm going to speak low and slow, big pauses.
it's interesting for him though because it's like, oh, you're building to something, and they just drop that storyline hard.
Yeah, so let's again to go with
They drop it
movie-
harder than Harry Styles' body at the end of the movie.
gives you all of this exposition. That's good. Gives you all the exposition, which its reveal is not bad, but it's the fact of then I looked at the time, I was like, oh, you have 10 minutes left.
Yep.
You don't need to know the whole story. She's now on her way out of the simulation.
She's getting out of here.
And so Chris Pine sends whatever the red shirt people are. It's unclear. It's totally unclear of how this program works.
Yeah, the only thing I can guess is the thing that she touches that's in the middle of the desert is the log out button. Like
that I'll give it. I got like it,
whatever.
but like I don't understand who the red suited people are other than like maintenance. But it's like if this is a matrix system, don't you know what everyone is doing in here?
Literally,
Because
like
they know when
shouldn't
Harry
be-
Styles dies because he immediately gets a call of like Jack's dead.
Should there be like a I don't know like a script running like on the main actual real world computer where it's just like
To where and this
a
was
log?
this was a really hooky bit where the doctor's like, you should take these pills.
Hey,
And then he gets up and leaves his briefcase so she can get something out of it that also turns out not really give her anything.
but also like, can you just delete it?
But to go back to Chris Pine in the dropping of the body hard, he's got a call. And it's like, what are we going to do? She's almost at the exit. He turns around and his wife, played by Gemma Chan, who I guess also is aware of what's going on.
But was like waiting for her moment.
He turns around and she just fucking stabs him. So our main villain
Just
not only has
dies.
no comeuppance with our main heroine, he just dies. That's it.
It's so
and
weird.
and when she stabs him, she goes, "It's my turn now."
What does that mean?
And it literally was like, what does that mean? And here's the biggest fucking weird thing. It's explained to Florence Pugh. When the men die in the simulation, they die in the real world, which is to indicate the women do not. And I don't understand the gender bias of this simulation created by Chris Pine's character.
Because I even thought maybe it would be like a sex trafficking thing at some point, but no, nothing even leads to that.
And you actually did some extra research because we were shown the real world, and honestly, what we're shown
Yeah,
just looks like our modern day. But
it was
apparently,
literally just something I scrolled past, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's supposed to take place in 2050.
and maybe that's just to get the conceit of this machine existing. But it's like, with all the other weird stuff, like I buy the machine.
Yeah,
like it did
you
no
don't-
part of that for me in 2022. I was
You
like,
don't have to Blade Runner me for me to understand it. It's really weird.
and the reason Harry Styles puts Florence in here is because he loses his job.
And he
she's
is
like,
mad that she's not making him dinner anymore.
it is very much that. So this, and I guess it's supposed to be the theme of this movie is like men controlling women.
And I guess he's hanging out on Reddit boards.
Because again, there's two things this movie does nicely. Of it foreshadows this weird thing with Tuna, and also all the early scenes with Florence, she's barefoot, which is to also kind of show the submissive
I
nature
didn't catch that one.
of women. So again, like there is stuff that, and I'll give Olivia Wilde, who directed this, credit of, okay, there's some stuff here
This is where I'm gonna disagree with you.
of anything
Because-
good being in the movie.
Because I think that Olivia Wilde really wanted to push a message of like some powerful feminism stuff for this, but she got her own message wrong. Like she fucked it up. One of the quotes that I found here is that she went to a Vogue magazine. She wants to make a movie about good sex. She keeps saying, "Why isn't there any good sex in film anymore?" She also said that she wants the audience to realize how rarely they see female hunger and specifically this type of female pleasure. It's rape.
I will say, I mean, yeah, one
It's
in
literally
the
non-consensual.
in the context of
non-consensual.
maybe for the couple we're watching because they are married, maybe in her head it's like, well, okay. Although a husband can still rape his wife.
But it's still like, what?
But I mentioned before we started recording too, like towards the end of the movie, I was like, why is this movie rated R? Because they haven't really cursed. There's not
The
violence.
sex scenes were like
and
very
it was
like
because the sex scenes, which were
intense, but they also weren't.
they weren't graphic.
They weren't graphic.
Like you don't see Florence
Yeah,
fully
flashing.
naked. I mean, you kind of do when she's in the bathtub a little bit, but it's never anything gratuitous other than the first real sex scene is just Harry just chowing down on not dinner.
And I think that was the moment that
And-
Olivia Wilde started dating Harry Styles.
And it's like, Olivia, that's just acting, right? You know that Florence wasn't really in O-Town.
But also, Olivia, that's literally what directors get in trouble for. Don't date your actors.
Well, they're broken up now,
Oh, okay.
so it didn't even work out. And
Damn.
and poor Jason Sudeikis, and he was in her last movie, which
He was.
which I haven't seen, but I remember it getting a lot of praise.
Oh, yeah, it got a ton of praise.
And I think that it's well regarded. And also, I know like this is tonally a very different movie. So again, I do want to give her some props. Of like you didn't
At least
do,
you tried something.
you didn't do the same thing you did.
I know that Florence also put out a statement that was just like, when it's reduced to your sex scenes or to watch the most famous men in the world go down on someone, it's not why we do it. It's not why I'm in this industry. Obviously, the nature of hiring the most famous pop star in the world, you're going to have conversations like that. That's just not what I'm going to be discussing because this movie is bigger and better than that. And the people who made it are bigger than better than that. So it seems like she's trying to dig at Olivia Wilde there.
Well, she also didn't do
And
any of the press.
she
was
would
at the
not.
premiere, but she did not do the press tour, which led to there being like, oh, maybe there's beef between her and Olivia. Again, you know,
It's
I don't really know.
Yeah, like the whole like drama thing about it. I saw something that someone said that Harry Styles just spit on Chris Pine.
Which I don't think was a thing either.
I don't think so, but I was just like, that's pretty funny.
Because I feel like both actors or their camps have said like that didn't happen.
It would be funny though.
But also kind of be like, for what? For the 15 minutes that Chris Pine's in his movie?
Yeah, got pissed off, dude. This movie just really wanted to be an A24 film.
So originally Olivia Wilde wanted to be the lead.
Okay,
She hired Florence after seeing her performance in Midsummer.
of course. Oh, and then Shia LaBeouf, that was the thing.
Right. He was supposed to be Harry Styles' character, and then there's a scheduling thing, and Harry Styles' concert got dismissed because of COVID. So then, and again, I really don't care about all of that. I just want to talk about the movie that I saw, what we got. And so also like the concept is neat, although not totally original, because for the beginning I was just like, is this a Stepford Wives
Yeah,
situation?
like I said, if you shorten the movie, it really could have been in a new season of
Black
Black
Mirror.
Mirror. Like really,
But you know what? Black Mirror usually explains itself,
it does. Well, for the most part, there's
or at
some.
least, gives you enough to be like, I think that this is what happened,
What's the
or this is why these things. It
is
explains its
is it
rules.
San Juniper? Was that
San
episode?
Junipero.
That was pretty much a very similar concept, and it ended up being like one of the most heartwarming episodes they ever made.
And this is not a horror movie; it's a thriller.
I still cannot believe that it is listed as a horror movie.
Well, and I think some of the score thinks that it is a horror
It
movie.
definitely does.
and maybe it's a female horror movie. Like this is terrifying for a woman, but this would be
also-
terrifying for anybody.
Hey, but according to Olivia Wilde, this is for female pleasure.
And it's the other thing I want to get at is there is the sex that is in here. I was wondering, like, is a man's prowess enhanced inside this world? Because
It's like
the other
literally.
real sex scene we see between Harry and Florence, they're at a party at Chris Pine's house, and he's just too horned up, like he's got to have it. And she's even like, "There's people outside," but she's just like taken. She just like, "Go ahead, take my panties off." And then Chris Pine just walks right in. I mean, it's his house, so fair enough. And then he just like leans on the wall and watches. And I was like, "Oh, I guess no one sees him." But no, Florence
Yeah.
makes 30-second long eye contact with him. Doesn't say anything
Doesn't
to
say
Harry.
anything.
Doesn't, just kind of stare, and she's clearly uncomfortable.
But
and
it
then
also
Chris
kind
Pine
of
just
made,
smirks and goes, "Yeah," and then leaves.
it kind of made me think that she had a thing for him. Like she's like, "Oh God, don't come in here right now." Like, what?
I wondered if that was a thing, and maybe now that you're telling me, like,
The
Olivia was
script's
pulling
weird.
stuff out.
Yeah.
Because then at the dinner scene, Chris brings up like I trusted you in my bedroom. I was like, "Was that your bedroom?" I guess I didn't really.
I thought it was like a fucking closet or something.
And he's clearly saying a way of making it sound like something happened. And this is the climactic scene of the movie where Florence at a dinner scene is in front of everybody calling out like he's doing something to us. And
Yeah.
also because now we know it's simulation, there's a scene too where Florence is breaking eggshells that turn out to
Yeah.
not have eggs in them. I'm like,
What
yeah,
is that?
it's weird. And then when you explain it's simulation, it's like, so was the simulation glitching?
Yeah, was it a bug?
And also, why is she figuring things out or waking up? Why did the other woman? What is the case of this?
I think they half-ass explained a plane. I was thinking of the plane. The half-ass explained that.
Yeah, what was that?
Yeah,
What
like
was the plane?
I was gonna say they never.
Because it turns out they're not doing it like the
plane was the
job,
kid's toy.
the military base they go to thing. That's just them exiting the simulation. They're not going to. I mean, they are going to work actually
But
out of the
what?
simulation. So like, why is there a plane that is crashing? And then I was like, oh yeah, the black woman. I'm sorry, I keep saying that, but I can't remember her name.
I don't. Yeah,
She was playing with a little toy airplane.
it was like
that.
her son's toy that she lost in the desert.
So it's like, what? You can't just throw like, you know what? Watch WandaVision. Everything that's weird in the first handful of episodes of that show
You know,
turns out to have a reason.
speaking of WandaVision, that's basically what Olivia Wilde's character Bunny is doing. She's like, I'm staying in here because my kids are here. I lost them in the real world.
All right. So again, the movie gets interesting at the end when she reveals like she knows what this, like she knows she chose this. To where I was like, is your husband also like, did you both choose this? I'd almost want to see a director's cut. If only like,
Yeah.
please explain to me. Because then, when
What is happening?
Florence kills Harry Styles.
Very easily.
Well, you know what? To be fair, most movies when they show people get hit in the head and just knocks them out, like maybe this movie was more realistic. Like, no, that would kill you,
Yeah, it's fucking dead.
and he just drops, as you said.
I
And
thought
we're-
that was. I actually liked that.
I did too.
I think I liked just seeing him leave the movie.
And that's when Olivia explains she knows what's going on, and she's like, "You got to get out because they're going to kill you in the real world." Whereas, like, which we don't ever really see or go back to.
No.
She gets chased in
Yeah, the
here.
one thing that you actually want to see of this movie,
And
it
even
decides
Harry
not to
says
show
he
you.
doesn't even know who the other guys are. Florence walks out of the house. All the other couples that we've been with in this movie are also walking out.
They just stream
Nick
out.
Kroll, who's in this movie for some reason,
I didn't even know he was until you mentioned it.
who is married to Olivia Wilde in this movie, is like flipping out. But the other wives look like they're now also like, now they believe her. Now they're waking up. She's not saying anything to them like she did at dinner, where they did not believe or listen to her. And I was like, "Are you the one? Are you Neo?
Like
Are you waking everybody up?"
literally, like, is this just the Matrix again? But
It-
also, like,
it's also
I guess the
street
first
lamps.
girl, she doesn't care or she doesn't count. Like, okay,
Street lamps start exploding,
no reason.
and it's like, it looks cool. This looks like a climactic thing happening. I don't understand why. Like, no basis for why.
Never. Like, just like the eggs thing. It's just like, I guess you could chalk it up to computer glitch. But also, it's just like, hey, it looks really weird and mysterious. Let's pull that for the twist.
And you know, all of that could have been if there was one line of dialogue between the men of just like something's wrong with
Yeah.
the system or something.
I think they kind of tried to explain that Harry Styles was a computer coder. And that's what he was actually doing. That's why he got the promotion or whatever at the party. And then he started doing a stupid ass dance. It's like,
Does that mean that that's what his job is in the real world?
I think so, maybe, possibly.
Because he also states, like, again, the whole reason he put her in here was he lost his job and she was picking up extra shifts, and she's a surgeon. And so she's working 30-hour
Literally a
shifts.
surgeon.
And he's angry because she doesn't have her phone in the OR. And he even says, like, well, it'd be nice to know that. It's like, dude, how long have you been married?
Yeah,
Also, do you think that surgeons bring their phones with them in the OR?
like literally, like what?
Like, there's any number of things you could have had be a conflict between
Yeah,
these two people.
sorry. Can you hold this scalpel real quick? I gotta text my boyfriend back. He wants tuna for dinner.
It turns out that he was having trouble getting another job because we kind of even see a progression. Like his hair gets a little bit longer, he gets a little bit rattier looking.
I'm just like, okay.
So then he gets her in this system, and now he can get a job. And he says, as he's explaining to her, is like, I hate it. I fucking hate what I have to do so that you can be happy in here and we can be happy in here together. It's like, why didn't you just get a job
What do you do?
when she was out there? And that seemed, then your relationship seemed fine. Just get a job. That's all he had to do was get a job, and you did it.
Like, what?
And now you have to take care of her body, restrained to a bed forever.
Awesome, love that.
And also, what was up with I mean, it's very pretty looking, but the dancing women montage thing that sometimes, I guess this is the horror bit, sometimes their faces look like monsters, but only sometimes.
I don't know, it looks creepy. Let's add that in there.
That's all the cool stuff in this movie is I don't know, it looked creepy, right? It's cool that the glass like smushed her against the wall for some. And even that I thought was like, was this Chris Pine fucking with the system to kind of like punish her? But no, I don't think I don't think it is. And here's how the movie could have been better. If you're going to play this whole 1950s thing up, one, cut the trailer entirely differently.
Completely.
Two, set it up to where we aren't immediately just like, something is wrong. Instead, make us as the audience for a little bit be like, is she crazy? Like doubt her. Like, not completely, just like weird things are happening, but like, I don't know, you could be crazy.
The movie is just almost nothing. Like nothing really happens.
And I want to point out, because as I watched this, I was like, who wrote this movie?
Oh yeah, you told me about this one.
I'm not even going to say their names because they don't deserve that. They wrote, the only theatrical thing you know that they wrote is the Chernobyl Diaries.
Great movie.
But they also wrote a direct-to-video movie they wrote and directed, called Titanic 2.
Titanic 2.
Which was still made at a time when Blockbuster existed, and it's a movie entirely made to be like, people would be at Blockbuster like, oh, there's a sequel to Titanic.
Well, gotta get that. It's stupid.
And then there's someone else who did write the screenplay who has written some things that are more clever. But she still took their story.
She took a shit source material, basically, and had to pretty it up, and then Olivia Wilde decided to ignore that part.
I want the sex. I want the raw female. I'm hungry for Harry Styles. I mean, I wanted Shia LaBeouf, but I'll take Harry Styles, I guess.
That's the thing that still surprises me at all. Is just like, you wanted to cast Shia LaBeouf? Like,
you know what? To be honest, though, I would have been more engaged because he would have done something else with that performance.
Yeah, it would have been a lot crazier. He wouldn't have grabbed the steering wheel and yelled, "Fuck." He might have jumped on top of the car or something instead.
And I also kind of wonder, like, what would it have been like with Olivia Wilde in the lead?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird. I don't know. I guess, there's not a lot more I can say about this movie.
Yeah, like I said,
the only thing that this is going to be weird, and this might just be me being fucking stupid and weird, but the set design reminded me of the Flintstones movie. John Goodman.
That is weird because there's nothing prehistoric about this.
No.
Although now that you say that, what I'm thinking was how much of the desert, and when she's on the trolley, my immediate thought was too, is like, is the trolley driver real? Is that a real person?
I keep fucking up in my head and thinking that the trolley had rock wheels.
You know what though? It might as well have. They might as well have thrown something like that. Like,
I would have liked
throw
to
the
see that.
Cloverfield monster in there. Fuck it. That'd be weird.
It's DLC, dude.
Actually, yeah, if they tie this into the Cloverfield universe, I'd been like, okay, well, that makes
let's.
slightly more sense.
I mean, let's be honest. If this was a real simulation, some of those women would be anime girls, or at least have cat ears.
It's got to be real. It's got to be 1950s. They didn't do that in the 1950s.
Sure.
Also,
would you recommend
no.
watching this movie?
No, unless you love Florence Pugh.
I just feel bad for her.
And like I said, either don't watch this at all or turn it on and mute it. Those are pretty things happening on the
Watch the
screen.
trailer.
Or that, yes. Take 2 minutes out of your day on your phone.
Watch the trailer. Go turn on Black Ops 1 and just go play on Nuketown. Pretend that Harry Styles is in the background when the round ends.
You know what would have made a better ending if the solution was like, nuke it.
They should have. They absolutely should have.
Except they couldn't, because then the men would die, because they die if they die in the simulation.
That's what Florence should have done with her new mind powers.
Yeah.
She said, this reminds me of Black Ops when I was a kid.
Yeah, so even the car chase scene, like I called immediately, it's like, are you going to break? And they're going to crash into each other.
Dude,
in the
like,
middle of a wide open desert.
And also it's like, drive around.
And also I was like, why is the doctor, why is he in here at all? Just be out in the real world. Like,
I want to see a supercut where someone does the same thing, but just like driving up next to Florence as she's riding, you just see like Tom Hardy like like on the front of a car. Yeah. Witnessed.
So that's Don't Worry, Darling. Don't bother watching.
Don't worry about it. Let's get into the good.
So Guardians of the Galaxy are back after 5 years. It's been 5 years since we've seen them. And James Gunn has delivered us a delightful little Christmas special where we get to catch up with the Guardians, kind of find out what's going on with them.
Yeah, the last time we saw them was Thor.
I'm not even counting that. I was just going literally by their movie. But you're right. I guess they're also in Endgame.
Yeah, I mean, they are kind of the main part of Infinity War.
And they are ever so briefly in Thor. But we discover that, obviously, Peter Quill, being from Earth, he knew Christmas. And this is also, strangely, a kind of homage to a terrible Christmas special called the Star Wars Christmas Special.
I picked up on that, too.
James Gunn he mentioned it.
Oh, cool.
That
okay.
He wanted to, like, do that, but right.
Nice.
And I think he kind of did, because we get an animated opening, and it's even kind of janky animation.
It's definitely the same system they used for What If, but they decided to, like, take away some texture.
It also kind of a little bit looks like rotoscoping.
I feel like there was, at least on Michael Rooker's Yondu, definitely.
They have a lot of motion. And if you don't know what rotoscoping is, it's basically they took
one of the
live film,
funniest things you can possibly do.
And then they animate over the live film.
I think it's hilarious.
And we see kind of the first time Peter tried to explain Christmas, and Yondu like bitches out him and Kraglin.
I don't know about all this damn Christmas.
Ravagers, we earn what we get.
We earn what we get.
And it turns out this is Kraglin telling the story about how Yondu ruined Christmas. And so Mantis wants to try to give Peter a good Christmas.
And that's what the movie is. Like, that's the main summary of the movie.
And if you haven't seen it and want to, then go see it right now, because we can't not spoil it.
Yeah, that's it. Like, now it's time for the spoilers.
And, we can't say, like, her idea given to her by Drax to how to give Peter a good Christmas gift is, well, he really loves this Kevin Bacon he's talked so much about. Let's go get Kevin Bacon.
Let's go get him.
And thusly, the real Kevin Bacon is in this movie. Now, spoilers. We also immediately get dropped on us that Mantis is Peter's sister.
Okay, so this one is one for me that I was like, wait, people didn't realize that? I kind of call that on in Guardians 2.
To a degree, you should have kind of known it.
Like, that's, I got it.
Because Mantis says she has a secret, and also, like,
yeah.
Do you think that this giant living planet just has this bug lady around?
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, she's totally
another one of his kids.
Yeah.
But it had never been confirmed, so it's confirmed here. And another thing James Gunn said in this interview, too, is it was nice to do this holiday special twofold, because he gets to set up stuff for Guardians 3 so he doesn't have to explain.
What a privilege, by the way. That's like a director's dream, to not have to explain extra story in your movie.
I mean, although it's also kind of the more of a way, right? It's like, oh, do you not understand all this stuff? Well, you needed to watch these 3
You had to watch WandaVision.
But in this case, like, and I'm sure Guardians 3 will kind of work without having seen this.
For sure.
But we discover the Guardians have bought Nowhere, the giant skull in space.
Who'd they buy that from, though?
It's from the Collector. I think they even say when they bought it from the
Isn't
Collector.
he fucking dead? Didn't Thanos kill him?
We never saw him kill him. We just saw that Thanos made a like a hallucination of him, so we don't know that he killed him.
Okay,
But also, Benicio del Toro is not here.
right. Maybe it'll be in the 3rd volume at the
Uh,
beginning or something.
But equally, apparently, Guardians 3 is pretty heavy and dark. So he said it was also nice to be able to like go take a couple of days and just do this goofy, fun thing.
So off the show, I did say that I was like, oh, I wonder if they kill off all the Guardians. I will say Drax has a line at the beginning where he's like, a story's not good unless someone dies. I was like,
I
okay.
hate stories where everybody lives.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, thank you. And I was like, okay.
Oh, we also really get to see Cosmo, the space dog.
So I forgot this character existed.
Strangely, no Howard the Duck. I thought he might have been, but it's fine. I don't need him.
I didn't think about that either.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Mantis and Drax, and really, it's a Guardians of the Galaxy special, but
It's Mantis and
it's
Drax.
Mantis and Drax, which is great though, because they're kind of two characters that are more to the side or background in the Guardians films.
For myself, I really like Drax. I think Batista is very like great in that role.
I think this was the best Drax.
For sure. And I really, really love Mantis. Literally every movie she's in, it's always a joy when she's on screen, even in the background.
She's an adorable character already.
I like her a lot.
She's kind of like maybe the best part in Guardians 2. Like her scene with Drax laughing in Guardians 2.
It's good.
And just her kind of learning certain things. But
And,
I loved her even more in this, where she got to be so much more of a character.
Absolutely.
In this. Like you get to see her kind of yell and be.
it's like
a
that.
dumb joke, but like Mantis is like, you know my secret. And Drax like, you mean that you ate all the Zarg nuts out of the commissary? Like, no, the other secret.
I can't believe you remembered I can't believe you remember what the nuts were called. I could not.
And then like a few seconds later, he mentions it again, and she's just like, "Drop the Zarg nuts."
She was like, "Drop it," and I was like, "Oh, that for me." I was like, that really landed for me, and I was like, I actually like that, even though that is such a stupid joke.
And I'll be like, this is
it's nice. It's
this is a very lighthearted, heartwarming, and I mean this in a positive way, throwaway story. Like this does not impact the MCU at all.
No, the movie really opens with a band singing to Peter Quill about
Christmas. Learned about Christmas, and they just got Earth instruments.
It's a real like
it's the old 97s. It's a real band.
It's an actual band in the movie, and it's like, you know what, you do that like for a James Gunn production. You know, there's going to be some music. Why not just bring the music and be part of the movie this time?
And again, good choices and choices that make sense. At one point, Mantis is chasing Kevin Bacon, and it's the song playing is like, "I want to like bring me a Martian or I want an alien."
I want an alien for Christmas.
Kevin Bacon, for whatever reason, is watching the terrible movie Santa Claus versus the Martians.
Yeah,
but I know why he's watching. Is like because this is a James Gunn movie.
Because James Gunn
would absolutely know.
He would know exactly what that is. It plays Christmas Time by Smashing Pumpkins, and I was like, cool.
Yeah, much better use Smashing Pumpkins instead of Bullet with Butterfly Wings. Just being, in which you get what you get with James Gunn is proper use in and out of the songs.
And it really worked. And it's like, see, this is why you let James Gunn do it. You stop doing it.
He did say he wrote this in 4 hours.
Yeah, that works.
But he also, I mean, I don't want to say he's just like he didn't give a shit. He did. He just like it just came out of me. Like it just flowed out. And the dude's good.
Just like Harry Styles.
There's a little bit of an issue with the Kevin Bacon bit of like he's so shocked by them. But it was like, but you live in the MCU, so like you know about aliens and superheroes, and the blip happened.
I actually wrote this down as a note. They go to Earth to go find Kevin. They forgot to turn the shield cloaking device on their thing.
Drax, because there's another funny Mantis line too, where she sees him turn it on.
That's a very stupid type of joke that shouldn't land, but it's the reactions of the people that got me, because the fucking people in Eternals. She's literally starting to hyperventilate and cry. I'm like, this is what I want to see.
It's a subtle thing of like, oh, because you would be terrified because in your world, like you have seen something like that. Like something bad's gonna happen.
The Eternals thing. No one really had a reaction. They're just staring up in the sky, where I would have killed myself in that situation. For this one, I was like, thank you. It's just like 4 or 5 people standing outside while like...
It's almost like James Gunn knows what he's doing.
It was like, that was good. I loved that.
But the further of their Earth adventures, because they're in Hollywood, right? So they're walking down Hollywood Walk of Fame.
I saved
and they see all the cosplay performers,
Yep.
and because neither one of them would know what that is, like there's not really a fish out of water aspect of this because like they're not dumb. Like Mantis understands what money is, but they see a Captain America cosplayer, and Mantis thinks it's Steve.
So
She yells out, "Steve!" and runs to him, and he just runs away terrified.
I
and
liked that a lot, and
we
she just like
also-
doesn't give a shit.
We also apparently learned that in the MCU, GoBots are real.
That really got me. Was it like he's like, hey?
Drax sees, and I'm sad that I even know this. His name is Psykill.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty sad.
I like the GoBots when I was a little kid. And Mantis explains, "Oh no! His cousin was killed by a GoBot."
Oh, I thought you were gonna say. I thought it was his brother for some reason.
No, because Thanos is the one who killed his family. But
Thanks for that.
did you just make GoBots a thing in the MCU? Like
That's pretty.
they're
funny.
not even like a product. It's like no.
I really like that. Oh, and that was my favorite line of the movie. It's just like, Drax, stop being a bigot. And it's like,
Yeah, it was very good.
that got me.
And don't worry, there's some jokes that don't necessarily land, but
Like, she doesn't know that that's not Steve Rogers, but she knows what a bigot is. That's fucking amazing.
Mantis does eventually start using her powers, and it's kind of fun where they get a star map. And
Oh, I wrote down some stuff of all the people at the Hollywood Star. You see Zorro and Jack Sparrow.
yep,
And then you see another Ant-Man cameo, which has been increasing in these Marvel movies
we're
recently.
gonna make him a thing. God damn it.
And I swear, I don't know if it's just like, maybe it's just the guy they had in the suit, but he has the same head shape as Paul Rudd, and I think it'd be really funny if it is just Paul Rudd, just in a shitty Ant-Man costume
You know, if it
with no credits.
with it being James Gunn, I could almost see
I
like
could see that.
because he brought Fula Borg. He was the bartender at the club scene,
Right.
Who was very briefly in the Suicide Squad. I think you even see like a picture of Margot Robbie
Mhm.
When they're on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So there are
And,
like James Gunn like
Right.
friends with all these. And the reason Kevin Bacon is in this is because Kevin Bacon was in James Gunn's movie Super.
Yep.
He was the bad guy.
There was a Black Widow and a Captain Marvel cosplayer.
I
And
feel like Mantis was giving a weird look to the Captain Marvel one, just like, this is wrong. You're not.
right. Someone calls Drax the God,
God of War.
That got me, but it's also like, James Gunn, is that ADR? Did you do that because God of War is coming out, or was that just
I also-
already in the back?
I could bet that he's just a fan of God of War. And probably even realizes like one, Drax does look like it, and two, Dave. To be honest, like when they make a God of War movie, like you
He
should
could definitely,
get Dave Bautista.
at least for a fucking stunt double or something.
I mean, he would actually be great. He's become a very, very good actor.
Yeah, I like Batista a lot.
And honestly, now I really appreciate his Drax performance even more because like, oh, you are being funny because I've seen you do other things now. I'm like, this isn't just you.
It's like it's the same thing. I give the props to the actor who plays the adult version of Shazam. Is he is playing
Zachary
a
Levi.
child. Like, Drax is a child. Like, he's just a really
doesn't understand
mean
sarcasm.
kid. But he has the same humor as a kid. And it's what makes him pair so well with Mantis is because she's basically a toddler.
That was a
So
funny
it's
bit
really fun.
when they're at Kevin Bacon's house and they've stolen some Christmas decorations.
That was the joke that didn't land for me. I didn't like that
It
one.
doesn't necessarily land, but I don't know, something about it that I like. Maybe that James ran with it longer than it probably should have.
I think that's might be why I didn't
Where
like it.
Mantis gets a candy cane and Drax picks up one of those blow up elves, which he just calls funny little man.
I like that. I didn't like that they were arguing if the candy cane was a man.
I think it's just Palm. I can't say her last name. We'll just call her Mantis.
It's like Clementia or something.
I think it's her delivery of the line when Drax says, "You get to keep your man," and she's like, "How do you think this is a man?"
So before they get to Kevin Bacon's house, there is one more scene in that whole Hollywood thing where they're just sitting there staring at baby Jesus. I don't know why that got me so much, but that made me laugh out loud. Because it's just like a really weird,
Maybe-
hard cut to it, and they're just like, it's like a slight pan of them just staring at a baby Jesus figure.
Maybe there's a space Jesus in the MCU and they know about it. I
Right.
mean, now that we know the GoBots are out there. And we also later learn that apparently the people in space hate actors
Yeah, that was good too.
adamantly because the big joke is that they think Kevin Bacon is the stories that Peter Quill's been telling them. They think
Right.
he saved a town through dancing and all these other things. Also, I guess a little jump ahead, like Mantis has to use her powers on Kevin Bacon to get him to come along.
Absolutely.
And then when they find out he's an actor, they're disgusted. So she tells him to be a hero,
That was a good
be
line.
those things. For whatever reason, Kevin Bacon takes it as like, I'm British now.
Like, you're Nazis.
And she's like, okay, don't be that. And then he's like, I'm Batman.
Yeah.
So
I'm
and I
Bruce
know
Wayne.
The Eternals mentioned Superman.
And Batman.
So
It's in both.
in the MCU, DC comics exist.
I think in one of the Spider-Man movies, there is a Superman comic. Like, just straight up.
Which is something I don't think you'll ever see DC do. They will never, ever
Mm-mm.
acknowledge like
Mm-mm.
Marvel. Maybe now that James is there, like, yeah, we'll do that. It's fine.
I did like that. That was funny. And I also like that his Batman voice was nothing. Like, that
Nothing
was
like
funnier.
Batman or Bruce Wayne. And he was like, oh, I mean Bruce Wayne. It's like, it's fine. You're
And,
not really him.
There was one Marvel cameo, and it was from Eternals. And it was a poster for Kingo.
Oh, I didn't see it, but I heard that.
Yep. It's on top of the gay bar that they go to.
That was kind of funny to me too, that Drax is clearly being hit
He's
on.
been hit on, and he's just like so.
And obviously because he takes everything
Nothing.
literally, he doesn't get it.
He's
But
like,
also, it chooses to not do anything with it.
it was really weird, but also really funny. I liked it because he was just like, I don't dance. And he was like,
Dancing is for people who are pathetic.
it's like, maybe you are being a bigot, Drax.
Before we wrap up, I want to jump back to something I told you before you watched it. So I want to know how it affected you. How do you feel about Groot's look?
He hit puberty.
So in this, yeah, he's definitely, he's no longer tall. He's kind of squatted out and he's bigger and
He looks like a
bulkier.
Ninja Turtle.
And apparently some people online thought that was a suit. And James had to say, like, no, it's CGI.
There is a
But-
scene where I was like, I can see why someone would think that is a suit.
And me watching too, I was like, is it a suit?
Yeah.
Because the design, more than any other Groot design, does look like you could make a suit and have someone in a Groot suit. I didn't mean to make that rhyme, that just happened.
I,
Groot suit riot.
I was gonna say too with the Kevin Bacon bits
Just sprinkled in there.
just sprinkled in there. I gaslit myself.
Okay.
I was like, it'd be really funny as he's talking about all these acting things. He should bring up how he played Magneto. I was like, he didn't play Magneto. He made Magneto's helmet. Because I don't remember that X-Men movie.
I wonder if maybe James did have an X-Men thing in there, and
But
Marvel's
the character
like,
is so
nope, do not mention
meaningless
that.
and nothing that it's like, yeah, it's fine.
Technically, the lore of X-Men, he is actually very important. And maybe
I don't know.
Marvel even has a plan, like, we're going to use, I also know his name, it's Sebastian Shaw.
Okay.
Like, we're going to use him, so, like, don't say that he's him.
I totally thought that he was a Magneto for like half the movie. Not literally in this thing, but I was like, I kept telling myself, oh yeah, he's the young Magneto.
Well, it's a kind of weird little thing. Like, he gets called by his wife, and it is actually his wife. He's married to the actress Kira Sedgwick, and like, you didn't need to do that level
That's
of detail,
funny.
but they did.
I don't know. It just feels like there was a very personal friend thing. And like, we think that would be kind of cool.
So eventually, we get back to nowhere. They present Peter with the present. And
Honestly, pretty good.
He is not okay with it because you've abducted a human being.
You got more of an animated voice than you got in the Mario movie with that one.
I gotta say, I liked Chris. He's not in this very much, but I liked Chris
didn't need to
Pratt
be.
in this. And also, Nebula got some really fun stuff as well.
She always looks like she's trying to be a badass no matter what she's doing.
Specifically when Kevin decides, like, I'm gonna hang out and sing a Christmas song, y'all. And Nebula's dancing. It's like she wouldn't know how to dance, so it does look like this goofy kind of robot thing. But she also
Okay, that's pretty funny. I didn't
can't-
notice that.
she can't not look like a badass either. So like she's just keeping this very stiff, stoic.
That's pretty funny. I like that. I didn't see that. I have to look back at it. The thing that I was thinking of is when it's like her turn to pull the lights on at the end. She's like, ugh, and like still like roughly pulls that lever over, even
Yeah.
though it's like you didn't have to do all that.
She also delivers one of my favorite lines in it too. Towards the end, where she's like, well, "I guess all actors aren't pieces of shit."
That was good. Yeah, I like that too.
I'll admit, because I'm not a Christmas person, this actually did kind of put me in a Christmas
Dude,
spirit.
I wrote that in my little my little notes.
Nerd Notes by
Nerd-
Nemo.
my nerd
Nemo's
notes.
Nerd Notes. It's a new segment, y'all. Nemo's Nerd Notes.
I'm not a Grinch. I'm not a Scrooge, but I don't really care that much for Christmas. But it doesn't bother me. But yeah, at the end of it, like especially when it reveals that she is his sister, it's like this is really heartwarming. I actually really like this.
I didn't tear up, but I felt the beginnings of like, I could.
It's down there.
I could if I
It
really
was
wanted
there.
to. Like, I could make this come up.
Yeah, I was like,
And honestly, I think it started when Nebula gave, because eventually everyone kind of gives people Christmas
Yes.
presents. Nebula gives Rocket Bucky's arm,
That one was like also one of those things that was like, what?
and it's his Wakanda arm. It's not his Winter Soldier arm because it doesn't have the star on it.
Yeah.
And that's a funny callback too, because he wanted it in
He
Infinity
really
War,
wanted it.
which is great. She's like, "Oh, she got him something he really wanted," and like Rocket's reaction of like, "Bucky's arm,"
It even says Bucky's arm. It was just like, it took me a second. I was like, wait, what?
and Nebula's almost begrudging, like, "Merry Christmas." Like I
She
think
really went out of her way to go rob this
that
this
started
veteran.
the nugget of like emotions in me, to where then when Mantis, like, she's so afraid to tell Peter that
Right.
because she doesn't want him to think of Ego, who killed his mom, when he looks at her. And of course, she gets it out there, and Peter's like, "That's the best gift I could ever be given." Because honestly, because now he has actual family,
Yeah.
and his surrogate family of the Guardians. But now
Literally.
he has, "You're my
A
actual
literal
family."
family member, which is like, oh, you're doomed, aren't you?
Dude. If Mantis dies in Guardians 3, that might actually
It's gonna get
it
me.
might hit me as hard as like Tony dying. But even Tony dying was like, well, we all kind of saw
It'll
this
hit you
coming,
as
right?
hard as Gamora hitting the ground.
Dropping like Harry Styles.
Good callback.
It is the only bummer that Gamora can't be in this.
Right.
They do reference her, and that he's also sad
It
because
was
he's
nice
missing
they
her.
referenced her.
And I wouldn't want them to have resolved finding her. I feel like that's going to be a big part of Guardians 3.
For sure. It has to be.
But it is a little bit of a bummer of like everyone's here but Gamora.
That's the bittersweet aspect of it.
So though, Kraglin with the fin, it's so gross
It's
how
really
much
gross.
skin is up over the fin.
It
And
is.
part of me was like, is this just a bad makeup appliance? Or is you're like, nope, it's just fucking gross. Because
I did check in Thor, and it does look like that in Thor as well.
I guess I didn't see it as much in Thor.
Oh
Or
yeah,
just,
you're
like,
distracted
everything
by the
else-
screaming.
Maybe it was that. Where immediately with this, I'm just like, oh god, that is a lot of skin up
Yeah.
over the fin.
It was pretty gross.
But I remember James Gunn made trauma movies. He makes gross stuff. So he
so
probably was like,
good. That's
yeah.
some nice little body horror.
But also, to Sean Gunn's credit too, like
Dude, he was all in.
he really had the other heartfelt scene where he's explaining to Kevin they just wanted to do something nice for their friend. He talks about you like this, whatever, and which is what makes Kevin decide like,
It's also kind of real though that he was not only just like Peter Quill's friend, he's almost his brother. Like they were raised together.
in a way, yeah, like I don't maybe almost let's say uncle, like really young.
I
Or
mean, it felt like they were both kids in that.
no, he was definitely older, but he was a
Okay,
younger
okay.
version of Kraglin.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because he was an adult. I mean, he was with the Ravagers when they took him or whatever.
I don't remember that part.
But we also get another flashback to the cartoon where Peter explains Kraglin doesn't
Yeah.
know the whole story, and you
Yeah.
see Yondu.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a troll doll.
I wonder if they didn't have the rights to that. Like they
Because
just-
that's what it
for
was
some
in the
reason
first
they couldn't.
Guardians.
It was.
But I could see now where it's like, no, you can't use trolls. All right, I guess I'll use this
'Cause, I mean,
thing.
Trolls World Tour has now came out
Uh,
after the movie, so now
and-
it's a genuine thing again.
that also is pretty heartwarming. And
yeah,
then we
it's
see
nice
that,
that Mary Poppins has a heart after all.
and we also see that's where Peter got his
It's
blasters.
blasters.
And it kind of makes it even cooler now to know, like, oh, he's had those since he was a kid.
I like that.
They're a gift from Yondu, so it kind of makes them even more important to him.
Right. Especially now.
Oh, and the Groot gives everybody dioramas.
I was gonna say the dioramas
And the dioramas are literally just what happened in the special
that he
until
would have
Kraglin.
the things that Groot would have never seen.
I guess maybe they told him
But
because
it's
he
funny.
did wheel out Kevin Bacon.
I also wrote down the Kraglin one. That was funny. as
Kraglin's
shit.
was a diorama of him getting the diorama of him getting the diorama.
I really like that joke. Peter Quill does give the worst gift. A Game Boy
The Game Boy, the original Game Boy,
with no batteries.
and no magnifying screen.
No link
Night
cable,
light.
no light.
But Groot seems to love it.
This is where I'm going to put on my nerd glasses. Actually, in Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2, Groot is playing a video game. You could see it at the end. He already has one.
Now, isn't it one of the Tiger Electronic ones, or is it some weird space game?
Space game.
All right, then yeah.
But also, Drax has sensitive nipples. Why is he wearing shirts throughout the entire movie?
because Dave Bautista didn't want to do green makeup all over his body. Like I thought of that too. As like weird how you're like we've kept the entire part of your chest covered this whole time.
Yep.
Like
But also it's like, yeah, I get you. I got you, dude. Like that's fair.
maybe in the years that have spans as Groot has grown,
He's gonna get his nipples cut off.
Drax. No, he's gone to Terra. He's come to Earth and he's discovered aloe vera.
Oh, okay. There you go. Or like pasties. Maybe he was wearing a bra.
Maybe, maybe he really like who knows what he discovered while he's down here.
He's got a brassiere.
And then we do get a nice little fun in credits tag of Rocket and Cosmo doing, and it's weird that it didn't even occur to me that they should do this until I saw it. I was like, they're making Groot a Christmas tree.
Oh, I missed that. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's very, very short, and it's them hanging lights and stuff on Groot, and then Groot can't hold the pose long enough, so he drops his arms and it all falls down.
Okay.
Cosmo says, Groot ruined Christmas again, and Rocket kind of turns the camera and says, well, now we have to do another special.
They're gonna get David Hasselhoff for that one.
And I will admit, I doubt that we will get one, but I kind of would like next year, like do another Guardians Christmas. Do one with Gamora. So it is the whole crew, but unless you kill someone in Guardians 3, I guess.
Okay.
But with this, and also not being a Christmas guy, I was like, I would very much like another Christmas special from you guys, please. Or, Marvel also, like, you could do a Christmas special with someone else.
Isn't it weird that there are so many like controversies around the shows, yet both of these special presentations, it's been
It's just
positive.
kind of universally loved. And also their effects have been, no one's
Really
really
good.
decried the effects.
Yeah, that was I kind of like kept an eye out to see if there's any shoddy effects, and honestly, there really wasn't for what this is too. Like
And as
maybe
we-
some of the mantis jumping around is like some
it's
bad
a little,
CGI,
it's a little bit,
but it's also at the nighttime, so it's like, yeah.
but as we tried to look up the budget for this before we started recording. We couldn't really find it
Yeah.
because I don't think it's going to. One, I don't know if any of the shows have had the budgets reported, to be honest.
Yeah, when I thought about that too, I didn't either.
But apparently, this more than likely was rolled into his budget for Volume 3,
Okay.
since he's shooting with that. And he mentioned, like, well, let me do extra production value of like the Nowhere set. He's like, if this was just the show, I wouldn't have been able to do that. But since I'm shooting on this already for the movie, I can just shoot here.
Which honestly, that works. And also, like, that seems like fun too, to just be like on the movie set and be like, hey, you guys want to get in costume and let's just shoot something else.
And this is kind of the bummer for me with the Disney Plus stuff of knowing that none of it will be released outside of Disney Plus.
It would be
This-
nice to have this on a VHS tape.
Or I was just say this should be a bonus feature when Guardians 3 is released on, on video.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
If James doesn't even tell him, he's like, I'm just gonna fucking put it in there.
I really would not be surprised because they did the whole music video thing, the Zardu Hasselfrau thing. That was an
Shoot.
extra feature.
There used to be back in the day, there used to be DVD Easter eggs, stuff that would be hidden in the DVDs.
Oh, right. Yep.
So yeah, James, if you're listening,
Merry Christmas.
put it in, like, just put it in there secretly. And like, what do you care, dude? You're gone. You're going to DC. So what are they gonna do?
James gone. Yeah, honestly, like I would definitely recommend it. I mean,
Even if you're not a Christmas person at all,
yeah,
this is it's a little delight.
there was one performance in the movie that did their job way better than everyone else. And it was the cops who started opening fire immediately as soon as they got there.
Also, what's cool about that though is that we've never seen the Guardians or anyone. Everything they've gone against has been space stuff. We discover with this that Drax is bulletproof and it tickles. He almost peed his pants. I mean, Drax kind of returned favor. He almost killed him because Mantis even said, like, you can't just kill people.
Which is also like, because they're going to be killing in this Christmas movie. Honestly,
if it was James Gunn, not under Disney, probably
yeah,
would have.
absolutely. Kevin Bacon probably would have died before he got back. They might have like launched him into space or something.
I hope that there is some Kevin Bacon cameo in Guardians 3.
That'd be nice. Like, even if it's just like maybe like a card, like a thank you card, like
Yeah.
something.
Or, I mean, he said he'll be back for Easter.
Oh, you know what? I mean, that's something to end it off on, especially Kevin Bacon sings a song at the end.
Well, he is a musician. He's got a rock band.
And it's like with the
Old
97, the old 97s.
I wondered if, they are friends too, but I wondered if Kevin was like, I'll do this, but you have to let me sing a song.
I mean, honestly.
But, it was good. Like, it was good.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. Definitely way over Don't Worry, Darling, for sure. And yet, you know what? You know what's fucked about this entire thing? 40 minutes is how long this special was. And it told more story than Don't Worry, Darling did in 2 hours.
Yeah, and it all made sense.
And it also
And it explained everything it did, because at one point Kevin's phone goes off in the spaceship, and even I was like, "What the fuck?" And
it
immediately,
explained it.
even Kevin was like, "How do you have reception up here?" And he's like, "Oh, you got enough satellites. You probably reach about 400 light years." It's like, all right, good enough.
It's definitely been one of the more competent Marvel things that came out for this phase. Does this count as phase 4 or is this phase 5?
Oh, I guess technically this would be phase 5.
How about that?
So Guardians Christmas Special kicks off phase 5, setting the bar pretty high.
There you go.
Well, we're supposed to get Guardians, I believe it's next year. Yeah, all in all, I've enjoyed these Marvel special presentations.
The
And-
next one's going to suck, isn't it?
And I kind of think they should lean into this more. But when I say that, I don't want a ton of these because there's too much. They're doing too much. And I think some of these movies of late too have just felt like standalone comic book adventures, which is fine to a degree.
But now you're just
But
making
you-
comic books again.
But you've built a cinematic universe, so the movie should be big universe dealing stuff. You want to do little standalone comic book issues? Special presentation.
That's exactly what you need to do.
Kevin
That's-
Feige, I am available for work.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been that show, our show,
Yeah.
Shallow Cinema. Hit us up on all of our socials and such.
Our Twitter that we have not posted yet on at Shallow Cinema Show.
I don't like Twitter, you all. Also, I don't understand Spotify. I'm an old man. Things are very confusing for me.
It's
Just
fine.
hit me up on MySpace.
Yeah. Hey, we probably could stream on MySpace.
Probably good. They probably sponsor us.
It might.
Let's hit up Tom. He's my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God. Okay.
Maybe if we're willing to do a metaverse special, they would give us some money.
We'll put the goggles on and we'll watch a movie.
The bell
At fake
means
theater.
wherever you're hearing this, watching this, seeing this, taking it in, like comment.
Yeah, leave us some comments. Send us some fan mail at shallowcinemashow@gmail.com. Love to read anything.
And tell your friends about it.
Yeah, tell friends about it.
It's not a cult.
Kevin, if you listen to this, I want you to send us an email.
All right, well now it's out there, and every Kevin in the world's gonna be like,
Yeah, see, that's the good trick is it could be Kevin Feige.
so a running thing on the show will be emails from Kevin's and The Witcher.
Yeah, Geralt from Rivia. Hit me up.
Yeah.
I've been Nemo,
I'm always Blackjack Bauer.
and we'll see you in the next one.